Howdy, y'all. It's Cody from the Keepers of Nerdom. How you doing? So, finally got to introduce my daughters to a movie from my childhood, and what a great movie it really is. It was Jurassic Park, the epic first film. And rewatching it, you just realize that overall, this film is complete and whole, and gives you truly a grand and great scale of storytelling, of concept. They're running with this premise of bringing dinosaurs back by getting DNA out of mosquitoes that have sucked their blood, that got you know captured in amber. And so we get a scene where we see some of that concept happening, like finding one. It's probably the weirdest scene in a way in the movie, but yet it still has purpose because it pays off later. And I think that's the interesting thing about the film is it often pays off on its own in ways, because at the very beginning there's another scene with Dr. Grant, and oh my gosh, the female actress, she's so good. I cannot remember her name even in the film. But they're digging up dinosaurs, and young kid doesn't think that the velociraptor's scary, and so Dr. Grant has a velociraptor claw on him and shows it to him and scares the kid. And it's a great scene, but then later on he drops it as though almost so symbolizing just the idea of maybe he himself is extinct in his job of digging dinosaurs up because of what's now reality. And it really is. It's such a good payoff in so many ways. It's so good, so cool, because this movie just really truly tries to be so much and succeeds at it. I think the weakest thing you could ever say about this film is overall the CGI, when it is used, does not look great, especially when it's up close. Farther away it's okay, but the up close stuff is rough. Very, very rough. And it's 90s, right? So it kind of makes sense that it would be rough. And what's funny though is it almost looks better sometimes than some more modern films, like in the past 3 or 4 years. Doesn't make any sense that could even be possible. But anyway, when animatronics are used though, whole different level of amazing. Jurassic Park and animatronics go hand in hand as far as this film. The fact that they had a triceratops that is animatronic and interacts, and then the head of the long neck dinosaur, and then the little dinosaur that spits acid. I can't remember its name, but animatronics that work so well, and they use them in ways in limited scope that is perfect in the amount and time frame. And then obviously, like the raptors, when they're animatronic, are fantastic. They're harder though to do always as animatronics, because you got to think, like, technology wise back then, even it's almost in a way at the height of animatronics, but yet if we kept doing it, man, what we could truly have more all the time would be impressive. And when it is used, it is insanely impressive. But everybody just anymore tends to go towards CGI, and it's sad because the animatronics are something special. But they could even make those velociraptors move somewhat quickly, and it's really neat when they do. I love it. So good. So good. The big animatronic though that everybody should always talk about from that film is the T-Rex. When that is animatronics going and doing, I mean, it is animatronics at its finest, and it's so good, and it creates one of the most memorable scenes in so much of the movie in a way, because the T-Rex animatronic was not supposed to push through the roof of the vehicle of the Jeep, and it does, and it's actually real that the kids are screaming that are underneath it because they are freaked out as all get out, because all of a sudden this massive animatronic T-Rex is now pushing down onto them in the car. And so their terror is real in that scene, and it pays off in the long term of the film because you feel that fear. Like, this is one of those few films where kids are used as a part of the film, and they work perfectly because they make sense in the film. They give you that sense of, like, Dr. Grant gives you that sense of wonder as an adult. So yeah, you get a sense of wonder from Dr. Grant, but also the sense of wonder from the kids in different ways, because one of the kids is kind of like Dr. Grant, and you're seeing it kid's perspective, but also Dr. Grant's, as though he's reliving his childhood. And so it's that fun thing of both sides, and Dr. Grant experiencing, what it would be like to have kids. And the girl who doesn't like any of this stuff, like it's a new experience that she doesn't care about dinosaurs like everybody else does. And it works so well because it's this dynamic thing going on. And so you have so many character interactions as well. Like this is as much a dinosaur film as it is a character film, right? Hammond, that's trying to open this park, he's the most fascinating character. As every time I rewatch the film, I think I find myself more and more intrigued by his character, because when you pay attention to him, he sees a vision, and he's that visionary. He even compares himself to Walt Disney at a point where he talks about what Walt Disney went through when Disney World opened. And that's what he thinks is going on here. And he doesn't realize how much bigger of scope and scale what he has and he's about to unleash, and how dangerous it really is. And it plays into it so well because he thinks he has made the safest, the best, the most amazing park. And, you know, if it could work, it would be amazing. But the problem is, the moment you introduce meat-eating dinosaurs into this whole thing, it's just going to fall apart. And I love watching him as he is going, I know what's going to happen and how it's going to work. And it's going to all be great. And even as the park is falling apart during the storm and Nedry's betrayal, he is still wrestling with this idea of, I am going to make this park a success. As he's already lost the lawyer. Like the moment that he finds out, he should have found out that the lawyer is gone and dead. That should have been it. Like he's just this is not going to work. But yet he still hangs on to that, and I love that in this, that the lady scientist, she's finally the one that goes, this is not going to work. Because you watch this interesting thing play out too in the film, where the lawyer at first goes, this isn't going to work, and then when you start seeing things, we're going to make so much money, it's going to be amazing, and he's finally on Hammond's side. He's like, this is great. And then you see Jeff Goldblum's character have this interesting interaction during it, because he goes, you didn't think whether or not you should do this. You just went ahead and did it because you realized that you could. You didn't stop to think if we should. And I love this concept, because he's the first warning, the big warning sign beyond, you know, the lawyer just going, the investors are nervous. This is the first big warning sign of like, there's something seriously wrong here, and you don't understand the power you've unleashed. And it's fascinating. And finally, Dr. Grant and, gosh, I cannot remember her name. They both are going, this is bad. And obviously Dr. Grant isn't with them for most of the movie, but he's like the final word on it, going, I cannot endorse this park. And even Hammond's like, no, we got to get out of here. This is bad. But it's such a fascinating thing, because you're watching these different interactions, different things, and the scientist aspect of the marvel, the experience, this is the best thing ever, just to have a moment to be next to a Triceratops, to be in this environment, but also the reality then hits of how dangerous it is, and the raptors, how dangerous they are. The hunter guy that's like, sounds like he's from Australia. So fascinating, because he knows how dangerous this is, and he's like, I'll do my best, but this is all going down. I love that Samuel L. Jackson's just in this film randomly, and it's like, oh, there he is. Like, okay, super, super good. Just to have him as a character. And then Nedry, just funny, because he's like, man, I'm gonna make all this money, and you can just tell, like, he is so much, like, even though he's in a way a background character, he's obviously the main proponent, antagonist of the film in a way, because he's the one that breaks everything when the storm happens to try to steal information and embryos and make tons of money from it. And you see just how much too, like there's just little interactions between him and Hammond, and also just his workstation. You see, like, he wants more money. He's a slob. He doesn't care. He thinks of himself as this genius who runs this park, and he is, like, you can tell he is very smart, but he also is not thinking about the bigger picture in the long term of what could be someday. Like, he could totally have been so much more himself if he had been there with the park and kept it running indefinitely. You know what I mean? It's like, man, you could have been financially set if you've been over this park and kept it running for years. But and that's character building. It's so good. So yeah, we have so many aspects of this film, and it that's what's funny. It has a lot of characters in it, and yet you know enough about each character to have them be a piece of the puzzle if they're in any way a part of the puzzle. And it's 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 one of those films that in most, just about almost every aspect of it, there's perfection, that it just works so well. And they even leave this room for, in a way, a sequel of the idea of life finds a way, right? Because Jeff Goldblum's character is always about that, and then they find out that the dinosaurs somehow are having kids, and they conclude it's the amphibian DNA that was used to make the dinosaurs, because they had to fill in some gaps from the fact that they, in the film, that these things are so old that the DNA has broken down and isn't complete. So overall, great film. And can you top it? Well, we've seen the idea and the trying to top it for years and years and years, and the answer is no, you don't top Jurassic Park. The best thing you can hope for is doing something that's close to it. And unfortunately, I don't know that they've ever hit that magic that quite that same way. I will say I always enjoy number 3, and we may talk about that if I have my girls watch that one at some point too. But because I think number 3 is a decent film. It's nothing. I don't know that it really compares truly to Jurassic Park, but it's not a bad film. And we'll probably watch number 2 next. And then the newest films, the Jurassic World series of films, they exist. That's about it. So what do you think about Jurassic Park? Is it one of your favorite films? Is it one of those films that just lets your imagination just run? Is it a film you somehow you hate, and why is that? But I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts down in the comments below. Here at Keeps Us Nerded, we just like talking about things that are a part of our nerddom, and it's a special place in my heart is Jurassic Park, because it's science fiction with super sci-fi stuff, and yet going all the way back to dinosaur era type stuff. And what a fantastic concept to really wrestle with, of if we could bring things back, is there dangers there? What could be the ramifications of it? And even, side note, I love also that even in the film, first off, they do mention that all the dinosaurs are female, and then we see the ability that they have to change, because of the frog DNA. And also they mention that the dinosaurs can't get off the island because they have a certain enzyme that they've been engineered to only be able to eat. And if they don't have it, they will die. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, that's a smart precaution. The worst mistake about it is meat eaters. And also there's a point where even the hunter guy says, I advocated over and over and over again for you guys having locking doors on the vehicles. And I'm like, that is such a simple duh thing that makes sense that somebody would forget because of big infrastructure stuff. Because if you can't keep people in the vehicles, they're gonna get out, they're gonna touch the electric fence, right? It's gonna be bad. But it's so funny that they even acknowledge a major theme park error issue inside of the film that they're aware of, and they acknowledge as it's happening. And like, that is brilliant. Like, that's good storytelling, that's good writing, that's good everything. Like, going back, I don't know if that part would have been in the books or not, but I guess so, since I imagine them getting to see the Triceratops would be a part of that book. I haven't ever read the book. I don't know why. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me and for hanging out, and I hope that you enjoy this little conversation. And if you haven't watched it, well, go watch Jurassic Park. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for hanging out. Bye, y'all.
Okay. I messed up on 2 of my crisis suits, which I don't really care. I'm going to just play them with Legend stuff anyway. That's fine, because they have cyclic ion blasters, and I think it's really stupid just to make something disappear like this forever. It's really bad. But also, changing the drones, it's a little harder to magnetize those, and I'm sure there's going to be somebody in the chat, if several people watch this, going, oh, actually, it's really easy, you do this and this and this. Like, I don't want to break off the plastic stick and drill a hole in that just to put a magnet in so I could switch out these silly things, because then you put them in the box, and they get mixed in together, or somebody grabs them out, and then the magnets don't match with each other, and you have to find the original one. It's just frustrating because it's just a stupid thing. It shouldn't be a thing. This should not be a thing. Let us have options. This is silly, guys. This is really silly. I don't know the points cost yet of these two groups, but those are the two things that really irritate me. And also, how many weapons does this thing take? 2 fusion blasters. That's it. No 3 weapons, just 2. Granted, they get the Sunforge ability each time a ranged attack made by a model in this unit is allocated to a monster or vehicle unit. You can reroll the wound roll and you can reroll the damage roll. That's really cool. So because they have fusion blasters, which melt to 2, and so I believe that's half range, then you get an extra 2 damage. If memory serves, but it's only a 12-inch range, 1 attack, 4 ballistic skill, 9 strength, minus 4 AP, d6 damage. So if you go Mount Ka, you could just bypass the wound roll potentially, or you could go the Retribution Squad, where if you get in close, you get bonuses to strength, and then even closer is AP. I mean, it would be cool, especially being able to reroll the damage roll. That's nice. And Battlesuit Fists, I don't think have changed at all. So they're just whatever. They're terrible. You don't use them unless literally something gets in there. But now with only 3 in a squad anyway, they're not gonna survive. It's just silly. So Crisis Fire Knife suits. First off, they're equipped with a plasma rifle, missile pod, and you look over war gear options. They can have each of those things replaced with the other. So okay, they only take 1 of each of the drones. They have deep strike for both. That's cool. Okay, fire knife. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If this attack targets a unit at its starting strength, you can reroll the hit roll instead. That's cool. But apparently the plasma rifles had a range shrinkage down from, I think, 24 inches. I don't know. And then weapon support system. So see, they list they don't list the shield generator on the Sunforge, but they give the invuln save as though it has the shield generator. And down here, they list the weapon support system. But ironically, they show weapon support system stuff up there, unless that's supposed to be the shield generator, but I don't think that's what that's supposed to be. What do I know anymore, apparently? Weapon support system. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers of the hit roll. Any or all modifiers to the hit roll. Okay, good. There was the wording there. So, missile pod, 30-inch range, 2 attacks, 4 ballistic skill, 7 strength, minus 1 AP, 2 damage. Not bad. It's the 30-inch range, that's nice. Plasma rifle, 18-inch range, 1 attack, 4 ballistic skill, 8 strength, minus 3 AP, 3 damage. It's just like the fusion blaster is just basically better. Better AP, better potential damage. That's the only thing, though. It's a d6 of damage, but you do get to reroll it and have melt to 2. It's kind of that interesting thing. So the plasma rifle has nothing to it, and then the Battlesuit Fists. So overall thoughts, I think Mont Ka is going to be amazing. But unfortunately, we've lost so much of our drone stuff because now, as much as GW is saying, oh, we don't want you to spend more money on our stuff, but please buy more crisis suits because you're going to need to have multiple groups of these, and also buy more leaders because you can have so many more squads of these, so 3 each of these squads. Woo! Okay. That's why this is stupid. It's just going to make, and you're going to have to guide so many more units. It's just frustrating. And depending on their point cost will determine if this is actually viable or not, because I could come back and go, oh, actually, they dropped everything by 50 points a model. It's insane, that kind of stuff. But right now, as just looking at this is just a frustrating change. But I shouldn't be shocked because this is what GW does. And it's quite sad. It's quite sad. What do you all think about the Mont Ka and these 2 crisis suit changes? At the very least, we can still play at home with our legends, with our crisis suits that are in bigger squads and doing some pretty crazy stuff. I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you later. Bye, y'all.